Greetings to all C3RF members and friends across the country and indeed around the world, and a special welcome to the folks at Veterans for Freedom as they do this In Hot session on their dedicated streaming channels. Today's In Hot rolls in on the state of free speech in Canada, and it does so by analyzing the running battle that has been ongoing between the Christian Heritage Party and the City of Hamilton for the past 8 years. We are in good company to do so today, as our wingman on this mission is none other than James Enos. James is a major player in this David versus Goliath battle with his efforts to shepherd not one, but two legal suits against the city on behalf of the Christian Heritage Party. Jim is the Ontario Council president for the Christian Heritage Party and CEO of the party's Hamilton Mountain EDA. He is also the president of Hamilton Wentworth Family Action Council. Jim's consistent message over his 30 years of involvement of engaging public policy in the public square has been for Christians to participate in public policy formation by sitting at the public table while policy is being made, rather than protesting after policy is passed. Jim is a proponent for free speech, as we'll see, and through his involvement with the Christian Heritage Party Canada has successfully established this charter right in 2018. He is now on course to do it again, this time over the right to speak publicly about the definition of the term woman. Well, thanks very much for joining us on In Hot today, Jim. It's a real pleasure to have you with us here. And as I mentioned, we're looking at a long-running battle here of some 8 years, and this whole thing kicked off in 2016 with a poster that the Christian Heritage Party put up in some bus shelters in Hamilton way back in 2016. And if I can, I want to share a screen here and show the folks just what that poster was all about. And there we have the poster, and you can see it simply says competing human rights. Where is the justice? Bringing respect for life and justice to Canadian politics, CHP Canada. But as you can see, it looks like there's a gentleman about to enter the ladies' shower room, and this got the attention of the City of Hamilton. And I'll just stop sharing there. And they wasted no time in basically removing those posters from those bus shelters, lickety split. Could you describe to us what their reasoning was? Why did they feel they had to take that poster down?
Well, I can tell you one thing it wasn't. They had no public complaints at all. So
Okay.
we found out through cross-examination that they had 0 complaints. Their decision was made in an afternoon, less than 2 hours. They balanced all our charter rights and they actually didn't. They didn't even consider our charter rights. They'd entered into a contract with, it was up about a week of the 30 days, and they didn't realize it was up because they don't do the contracts. Outfront Media does the contract. They're an agent of the city. Outfront Media had no trouble with the ad at all.
Yes.
But somewhere along the road, CBC saw the ad and called the city for comment. And that's what tipped the whole thing off. When they realized the ads were up, they had them down within about a day or so of CBC informing them of the ads.
I understand that you say it didn't take them too much. They didn't consider the your rights, your charter rights at all for very long. As a matter of fact, from my reading on it, it looks like it was just a single individual, that bureaucrat at the City of Hamilton, that decided to, this will not do. We have to take it down. What does that say about our charter rights if one bureaucrat sitting behind a desk at City Hall can make the decision on what gets aired publicly and what doesn't get aired?
Well, if that kind of behavior can stand, then the charter rights our charter means nothing. There is no such thing as a charter. Absolutely
nothing. So I find it hard to believe that I guess once they made that, what seems to be an arbitrary decision, the decision was made by CHP to go ahead and file a legal suit. And I'm just going to cut away here because I have a little piece here on the legal suit itself. Here's the public record. Your case came up in this journal called The Public Record. And if I wheel down here to the city's arguments, it looks like the city was arguing that the charter does speak to free expression, but does not protect discriminatory speech. Was the lawyer from the City of Hamilton's response? I'll just stop sharing there. So their argument was is that this poster was discriminatory in nature.
That's the argument they tried to make.
Yeah, could you expound on that?
Well, you won't see it in writing, but during the actual judicial review, one judge said, "Well, we don't even have a definition of discrimination in the courts. What is discrimination?" And he went on to say, "How far do we go to protect minorities?" So they asked some very good questions of the City of Hamilton's lawyer, who basically couldn't respond to those kinds of questions. What's discriminatory? Having a difference of opinion?
That would
Go ahead.
That would seem to be the case because if they're bouncing your advertisement on the basis of discrimination, it would seem that what they're saying is that having an opinion in the public square, and in this case from a political party, can be ruled discriminatory and therefore can be bounced. I mean, what does that say about the state of public debate, political debate in the country? If anything could be called discriminatory, if that could be called discriminatory.
Yeah, if the Conservative Party holds a different view than the Liberal Party, they're discriminatory. Therefore, they can't run as a party in Canada.
Exactly. I mean, where does this all end? It seems like at the end of the road, all we're looking at here is tyranny and dictatorship.
Well, and that's what was in the judge's ruling. There was 3 judges on it's what you call a judicial review.
Yeah.
And in the judicial review, can I just read one paragraph out of what the judges wrote?
Can. Yeah, go ahead.
They said the right to free speech has been recognized as a fundamental ingredient to the proper functioning of democracy for hundreds of years. As a consequence, it has been protected by constitutions, laws, and courts across numerous democratic jurisdictions. Conversely, a lack of free speech is a common attribute of dictatorships and tyrannical regimes. That's a shot at the City of Hamilton.
That is a shot at the City of Hamilton. I would argue that it might be a shot at the federal government as well, because as we're looking down the road here at Bill C-63, I believe it is, called the Online Harms Bill, they're talking about bringing into the criminal code the ability to be jailed for life on the basis of something that somebody deems to be hateful.
Or might do. Or might do.
Or might do. The
$20,000 fine for something you might do.
The bill actually says that if you think about saying something that might disturb someone's sensibilities, then you might have to be put under house arrest and given a $40,000 fine. And
Right.
I think the fines actually total in excess of $70,000 by the time you take the government's cut into account. But so we see a really insidious things unfolding here, which your court cases are kind of cracking open, which is very good to see. It must have been some decision making going in behind the party deciding to take this to court. I mean, it's no small thing.
Yeah, well, what we did was we presented the case. We only had 30 days to respond. Once you have a decision, you have 30 days to file for judicial review. And so we just let our membership know what was happening and what the cost would be. We had an estimated cost of, I think, $65,000 at the time was our estimate.
Yeah.
And we said, it's up to you whether you want to go ahead or not. And we didn't take funding directly. We did it through pledges because we didn't want to take funds and the case doesn't go ahead, because you can't refund money back through a political party.
Yeah.
So we wanted to be up and up. We just took pledges, and in 3 days we had $54,000 of pledges.
Wow.
So we said, well, we're probably going to hit the mark, and that was our to go.
That is very, very impressive. And at the end of the day, we saw we did win the case.
Oh, yes.
And
Mhm.
at the end of the day, what did the courts have to say about the case itself?
Well, it was unanimous ruling, first of all 3 judges. And, it was just paragraph after paragraph of the importance of free speech. And it also pointed out that at no time could the city actually define why it was discriminatory. They couldn't
Okay.
put words. Was it the picture? Was that a picture of a trans person? They said, well, no, it's not a picture of a trans person. Well, do the words discriminatory? No, the words aren't discriminatory. Well, what's discriminatory? Well, the idea.
The
So
idea.
yeah, so
Uh,
ideas are not, yeah. That was their really they couldn't get anywhere. It was really great to sit in cross-examination. So for judicial review, you don't cross-examine in the court, you cross-examine ahead of time. It's pre-trial cross-examination.
okay.
And I sat there and listened they had 5 witnesses. And the one person's when they were asked about the poster, they said, when it comes to trans rights, there are no competing human rights. In other words, they trump everything. And
Wow.
And that's not what the Ontario Human Rights Code says. The Ontario Human Rights Code is as bad as the Ontario Human Rights Commission is. The code is actually quite balanced when you read some of their policies.
Okay.
They have a policy called, that's where the title of the poster came from. They have a policy called Competing Human Rights. And that's where that poster idea came from. And in
Okay.
there, they talk about it that while it's important that everybody has rights and so on. In the closing line, it says, insofar as they don't substantially interfere with the rights of others.
Hmm.
Okay, so when a man is going into a woman's shower room, now we have a competing human right. A man's right to believe he's something other than he actually is one thing.
Yep.
Requiring a woman to be unclothed in front of him and shower with him is quite another. And so we
Yes.
think the balance is incorrect. We're
So
not.
the woman or the girl's right to their own security, security of the person, and privacy has a part to play in this whole thing. And actually, when you talk about competing human rights, I have a little bugbear with that because when I look at the charter, I see the right to free speech, for example,
Mhm.
as being a fundamental. It's one of a numbered set of fundamental rights, along with freedom of religion, expression, conscience, beliefs. Uh, that because of the fundamental nature should enjoy uh, some sort of premium when it comes to being stacked up against other rights, like a person's right to believe that he is a man or a woman. But did the judges ever come across with the idea that the freedom of speech is a cut above other rights as a fundamental right?
Not so much on as an individual, but as a political party, it is a higher level. It's a higher
Yeah,
level of priority because a political party represents a population. It's not just one person's uh, free speech. So
that's interesting.
there is recognition that a political party has even more authority or freedom to express views. Obviously, how do we have varying political parties in Canada if only one view can be expressed?
Yeah.
So,
And how can political parties have views uh, that they could express with some sort of primacy, with some sort of priority, if members within that party, individuals within that party, don't have the right to,
well,
fundamentally speak freely?
there's parties that don't that lock down their.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into that, but there are
Well,
parties that lock
we have
down
cer-
their
we have
representatives.
we have certainly seen that where parties are now locking down their memberships. So I don't know. It seems to me that we're on a slide here downhill. We started out with something that was fundamental, say the right to free speech, and now it's been degraded to the point where it has to compete with other rights. Now, in your case, through your skill and persistence, you won that competition in this particular case. But now we see a second case come up, and now you're in the midst of a second case on the basis of another poster, and I want to share screen to show this poster. And this one says woman, an adult female. It gives a definition of woman, an adult female, bringing respect for life and truth to Canadian politics. Well, this really set the cat amongst the pigeons once again. This was put up at a bus shelter in Hamilton.
No, we didn't even get it up. They wouldn't
Oh.
even let us get it up. They this time Outfront Media was on to us, their agent, and they shut us down. They said we recognize it's a political ad, but the answer is no. And so what happened? They did that. They didn't tell the city, but then we informed the city, and the city took 4 months to come up and support what Outfront Media said and sent us a letter, quite a controversial letter of rejection.
Okay, I think I have that letter here, and I'll cut away again. And it's a city response. City of Hamilton responds to your poster and telling you why they basically decided to shut it down. And I underlined a portion here. In their conclusion, they say, in conclusion, while we steadfastly support the principle of free expression, we must also acknowledge the potential real-life impact of this proposed advertisement. Imagine a transgender woman preparing to board a bus only to be confronted with a message that denies her identity, devalues her lived experience. As the foregoing evidence suggests, the psychological harm caused by such an explicit public rejection of her identity could be significant, potentially inciting feelings of exclusion, shame, or even fear for personal safety. Such a hostile environment could discourage her from using our transit system altogether, disrupting her daily life and access to the city's services. Wow. So it looks like this poster that proposed one definition of a woman really set the cat amongst the pigeons, because now you're in a position, you're being accused of threatening the very safety, security, and emotional well-being of the public of Hamilton.
Yeah, what it says is that if you want to have an opinion that's sheltered from public scrutiny, act like a victim.
Well, this brings to mind the expression heckler's veto. So if you're up and you're speaking before a crowd, and there's a heckler in the crowd, well, then you have to stop and let the heckler have his way, even though it's not his event, it's not his time to speak. He gets the veto over your presentation, a heckler's veto. And I can't see, well, where's this going to end? Because I mean, you can have any number of people who have any number of personal sensitivities that they want to protect, and then we have to walk. Everybody else has to walk around on eggshells to make sure that they're not hurt.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're not out to destroy people at all, but I tell you, the false ideology that men can be women and boys can be girls does a lot of harm as well. Well, and I think we have to have public discussion about this. I mean, this bill that went through and became law, and every MP voted for it or kept their mouth shut on it. We know what it is. What it was, C4 at the time, I guess.
Yep.
Now it's illegal for a parent to counsel their children otherwise. This is far, far gone, and it's doing a lot.
Well, it seems like now I know that the Christian Heritage Party, they base their policies on biblical precepts. So that's where your worldview, that's where your political stance comes from.
Right.
These religious beliefs are enshrined in the charter. Everyone is free to believe as they choose. But it seems to me that now it seems like you're competing against another religion, and this is the religion of transgenderism.
It's at the end of the day, this is about the city's ideology versus ours, and that they're the only ones allowed to discuss it, as they do, as they put up all kinds of crazy ads about and on this issue on their bus shelters, on their buses, on internet.
Well, I think, do you have one available there, Jim, that we could show the crowd that the City of Hamilton is promoting right now?
I'm going to do share a screen. Hopefully we'll be able to get this to come up for you.
Okay. This is a picture of an obvious gentleman with long hair, makeup, made up to be like a woman, and the writing on the poster says, "We are Hamilton. We are every color, identity, ability, and creed, and together we make Hamilton better when it's hamiltonforall.ca." So there we have that. So we see the city of Hamilton promoting transgenderism with no problem at all. So there, I'm going to go back to the your
Right.
poster that was so controversial.
Yeah, so
Uh,
controversial. And it's interesting in the letter, they say to us, the message of the advertisement supports a traditional and biologically determined, okay, definition of gender in line with conservative values. The
yeah,
definition by its nature is narrow and exclusionary and does not acknowledge the lived experience of transgender and non-binary individuals who identify as women. So they acknowledge that it's traditional, it's biologically determined, and it's in most dictionaries. But the problem is it's conservative.
yes. It seems like there's only one way the public can think on these things, and it has to be the city's way, or no way at all. And your poster gets bounced.
And our argument isn't that they're trying to stop us from thinking, they're trying to stop us from talking.
Yeah.
See, we don't have freedom of thought. That's one thing. We also have freedom of expression.
Hmm.
So they're not saying you're not allowed to think about it. Nobody can control that. But they're saying when it comes to the public square, shut up.
Yeah. There's no two ways about it. I mean, that's the obvious message here. So, as what is the status of this case right now? Where is it?
Third week of October, we have a full day in judicial review in the courts in Hamilton. We don't know the
Okay.
day yet, but it's the week of October the 28th.
Okay. So you'll have your review, and at that point, the judges, the panel of judges, will walk away and come back with a decision sometime later. Is that the
Yeah, it'll probably, could be a few months. They could do it that day, but it's very unusual. But
okay?
usually it could go 3-4 months down the road before we get a written decision back.
Now the city of Hamilton has failed with its first try to quash your original bus shelter ad. How do they expect to win this one?
Well,
What is the thing?
I've been told that everything was in camera, of course, at City Hall. Now, when you have any discussion about anything at all, they seem to be able to go in camera about everything. They had 3 lawyers in camera who advised them they'll lose, but the
Yeah.
council voted 8-7 to go ahead, so they almost didn't go ahead.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay, so they are walking into this with some trepidation.
Oh yeah.
But I guess on the whole, the city council feels that this is a battle worth fighting. I guess they feel they're fighting for the right and for the good. I guess.
Well, and besides, they don't have to, it doesn't cost them anything.
Oh, okay. At the end of
I
the
got to
day, though,
pay for both sides, right? I got to pay for my fight and I got to pay taxes for theirs as well.
okay, you got to pay the taxes. But at the end of the day, uh, oh, I guess because you're bringing the case forward, you can't ask for court costs.
Well, yeah, we do. But last time they gave us 65% of our court costs. So
Okay.
this time we've asked for full court costs because this is the second time. This is we think it's very serious, their behavior now. They've been warned once and they're doing it again. This is a
Yes.
total waste of the court's time, really.
Yes, it is. And like I say, it's kind of hard to see why they're pushing this forward unless they really believe, in their heart of hearts that what they're doing is the right way to go. But how about for your part, from the viewpoint of the Christian Heritage Party, what kind of support or input are you getting regards this case and the case before?
Well, once again, we let the membership know, and a similar response very quickly came in financially. And yeah, we're looking forward to the day. And some people would say, like, what if you lose? Russ, this is the important thing that Canadians have to wake up to. Losing by forfeit is the worst way to go.
Uh,
You're better to fight and lose than lose by forfeit. So we're
so
willing to fight and lose.
Okay,
rather
so
than.
I take it then that you're prepared, if you do lose, to take this higher to appeal court and then off to
Oh,
the Supreme Court of
well, I
Minnesota?
wouldn't, well, I'm not gonna, I wouldn't, make any predictions about what will happen next. Let's wait and see.
Okay,
But, you know, you always have to look at what the ruling said, was there errors and all those kinds of things. We certainly don't think we're going to lose. We don't expect to lose. If we lose, then there's something very wrong in the courts.
yeah, I would see your point there, and I think you made a great point there, Jim, in saying that the only way you lose really is when you quit. You know, you don't they don't win unless you quit, and until then the fight's on.
Like, yeah, imagine if we didn't take Hitler on.
Yes, indeed. Imagine if we didn't stand up way back in the late 1930s. Yeah, where would we be right now? And it looks like Canada is kind of walking down a path here to that's pretty dark at the end of the day with all the legislation that's coming forward. We talked about Bill C-63. We talked about Bill C-4, conversion therapy. That bill, which takes away the right of parents to guide their own children and their own at their own kitchen tables. We're proceeding down a pretty dark path, and it's it seems to me like it's a very slow process of waking up, but it looks like Canadians are finally starting to catch on. And quite frankly, they wouldn't catch on as quickly if it wasn't for efforts like yours at the Christian Heritage Party to bring these things forward for public review and debate. So congratulations on that.
Well, and the work you do as well, Russ. I mean, that's your forte is free speech, you know, and
That's it.
we're all working together. So,
No,
you
we don't
know,
have free speech here. We don't have much of a free country. I'll tell you that.
well, how long will it be to your show is shut off?
I don't know. I've been thinking about that, and I do get some inklings here and there that maybe it's not too far. Maybe it's not too far off. I think as this particular government stays ensconced in power, I think it is only a matter of time. Because we talk about Bill C-63 and the ability to shut down people, put them under house arrest for thinking that the wrong thing. I mean, this is incredibly. It's like 1984. I mean, it's like George Orwell's 1984. But in that kind of a scenario, I mean, it's not just me. I mean, nobody can speak at all.
Yeah, there was a ruling. There was a lawsuit of it was a teacher in Waterloo. She sued the school board, and
Yes.
we're shutting her down for discussing her disappointments with the school's placement of certain books in the library around transgenderism and in the curriculum. And in there, the judge wrote, there is no limit on what people can discuss in public. And transgender has no limits. It can certainly be discussed anywhere at any time. Look, just because we want to discuss something doesn't mean that we're bringing down violence and all kinds. That's another call altogether. And we
No.
have to be a little bit more adult and learn how to have adult discussions about the most sensitive issues, but have them. Shutting things down is that's where the violence can come from. People get frustrated with not being
Very good
able to,
point.
and I'm not a violent person. I don't support violence, but I can understand that there's some people out there who feel frustrated. They can't say what they mean. They can't have it out there, and so they'll have it out with some kind of crazy violent act. Like, we have
No.
to be careful about shutting people's ability to discuss down.
Yeah.
If
No, there's no two ways about that. I mean, suppressing speech and suppressing people's feelings and need to discuss things in the public square is just that frustration is just going to go someplace else.
Yes.
And that's just as plain as day. But I guess in closing, Jim, is there anything C3RF members can do to help, or um, perhaps do you have a legal defense fund or something going on?
Well, if they're interested in supporting the court case, they can make donations to to CHP Canada. Just go to our website, CHP Canada, and when they make the donation, they could make a small note, for the Hamilton court case or something like that. If they're living in the Hamilton area, and they may want to reach CHP Canada and say, let me know when the court date is. Maybe they'll want to be in court that day. It's great to sit and listen to it all. It's quite something to sit in on the cases.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's particularly interesting to see how the judges are responding to the City of Hamilton's arguments in that first case. It was very entertaining.
Yeah.
The back and forth is very entertaining as the City of Hamilton lawyers kind of were set on the back foot, having to answer questions that they obviously were very uncomfortable with, things like the value of free speech. But
yeah.
Okay then. Well, with that, I'd like to thank you very much, Jim. Not just for this in hot second, but for your tremendous efforts at bringing these things forward, putting them in the public square, so we can look at them, analyze them, and have our own say. Thanks very much.
And thank you. And I really encourage people to get involved in the public square. Don't wait until policy's passed. It's too late.
Yeah, things are rolling downhill pretty fast here. So if you want to join the public debate, now is the time. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks a lot. Bye for now.
Okay, we'll see you.